Exclusive. Loose Women star Coleen Nolan has written a new book that explores how to deal with grief. Loose Women panelist Coleen Nolan has admitted feeling guilt because she didn't grieve when her mother died and instead felt relief. The mom of three believes she felt she had already lost the family matriarch 2 years beforehand as she died of dementia, so had done her grieving then. Speaking exclusively to express.co.uk, she opened up about the difficult situation. "I think I was grieving my mom in the last 2 years before she died. I think I was already grieving her, because I felt I'd already lost her, and yet she was still there, and she was tormented by it, dementia. My grieving process was awful in those 2 years, to the point that when she finally passed, there was an immense sense of relief, not because I'd lost my mother, but because she was out of her torment. I didn't have to watch her helplessly going through it anymore. So for about a year or 18 months, I think it took me till then to really start grieving the loss of her. In that 18 months, whenever I thought about my mum, I think of her with Alzheimer's. They were all the memories I had of her. But after 18 months, all of a sudden I remember thinking about her, and it was when I was little, it's when I was a kid, and those were lovely memories," she reflected. "But then that made me really miss her. And the guilt I felt that first 12 to 18 months. I was thinking, why am I not going to bed sobbing myself to sleep every night because my mum's gone? But I was just so relieved she just was at peace." Coleen, whose new book A Hand to Hold explores grief and how we deal with it, concedes she could have been swallowed up by her grief once it hit had it not been for talking to other people. "I could have got enveloped in that guilt and grief, but it was by talking, and luckily I've got big family and also good, close friends. But I could say all of this to someone who's been through it that could say to me, it's natural what you're feeling. I'm hoping this book for some people who maybe haven't got anyone that they can talk to, they can find some comfort in it," she said. While the subject of the book may not sound the most uplifting, Coleen says she found it therapeutic to write. However, she only felt able to pen it after presenting the Let's Start Talking podcast, in which she discussed death and attitudes to it with her guests. "When I did the podcast, and I saw how beneficial it was from the reactions we were getting, and then they said, I think we should do this book, it made lots of sense and it was therapeutic. I wanted to cover all forms of death, from parents and family and siblings to husbands and wives to animals. People really grieve over animals, and unless you're an animal lover, you don't get it. But it's really as strong as any grief for some people. I'm an animal lover, so I get it. But I think the hardest chapter I found difficult to write, and also difficult record for the audiobook, was the chapter on losing a child, because that, to me, has got to be the worst thing ever. I found sad listening to people talking about losing a child. I've massive admiration for how they carry on. I didn't find that therapeutic. I found that really hard, but I thought it was really important to include it."